The grand arena of Nexus Prime roared with the excited chittering, hissing and bellowing of 12,000 spectators from across the Galactic Confederacy. Commander Dravkorath, champion of the hegemony's elite Devastator Corps, strode confidently toward the center of the massive circular battlefield, his chitinous armor gleaming under the 3 artificial suns that illuminated the arena. Standing at nearly 3 meters tall, with reinforced exoskeletal plating and neural-enhanced combat reflexes, Dravkorath had slaughtered opponents from 37 different species in this arena. Today's match was considered so beneath his status that many in the Confederacy Council had protested it as unnecessarily cruel, even by the standards of the Trials of Subjugation. In the opposite entry gate stood his opponent, a human child, barely 12 standard cycles old. "This is barbaric, even for the hegemony," muttered Ambassador Exalani of the Tyrellian Diplomatic Corps, watching from the diplomatic observation box high above the arena floor. Beside her, Grand Arbiter Zenta, the massive gas-breathing entity who oversaw all Confederacy legal proceedings, shifted his translucent form in what might have been discomfort. "The accords are clear," he rumbled through his atmospheric translator. "When a newly discovered species petitions for Confederacy membership, they must submit representatives for combat assessment. The humans chose this specimen as their combatant." Solani's facial tentacles writhed in disgust. "They likely didn't understand the protocol. This will be over in seconds." "Indeed," agreed Zenta. "The betting pools are focused solely on how quickly the human child will die." Commander Dravkorath is not known for mercy. Down on the arena floor, the small human boy walked forward with surprising steadiness. He wore no armor, only a simple gray jumpsuit with EARTH emblazoned across the chest in blue letters. His dark hair was cropped short, and his expression remained eerily calm as he approached the designated combat circle. "I am Commander Dravkorath, 7th Claw of the Hegemony Devastator Corps, conqueror of the Vega Rebellion, executioner of the Proxima Uprising," the massive warrior announced, mandibles clicking as his translator converted his words to standard Galactic Common. "I have ended the lives of 6,412 enemy combatants." The child stopped at his mark, looking up at the towering alien warrior with curious brown eyes. "I'm Tommy Chen," the boy said simply. "I'm from Ohio." A ripple of what might have been laughter moved through the crowd, quickly silenced as the Grand Arbiter's voice boomed across the arena. "This combat trial will determine the classification and status of humanity within the Confederacy. Should the human representative fall, Earth will be designated a protectorate planet under hegemony guidance. Combat will continue until submission or death." The Arbiter paused. "Begin." Commander Dravkorath wasted no time. His neural enhancements activated, flooding his system with combat stimulants as he lunged forward with blinding speed. 4 articulated arms, extending razor-sharp blades from specialized gauntlets. By all accounts, it should have been over in that first second the child bisected before he could even register the danger. That's not what happened. As the commander struck, Tommy seemed to flicker, like a malfunctioning hologram. Then, impossibly, he was behind the charging warrior. Dravkorath's blade sliced through empty air as the child reached up and placed his small hand against the commander's back armor. The arena fell silent. Dravkorath froze mid-motion, his massive frame suddenly rigid. A thin line of green fluid began to trickle from beneath his helmet as his arms went slack, blades retracting automatically. Tommy stepped back, his hand falling to his side. "I surrender," Dravkorath announced in a flat, emotionless voice that sounded nothing like his previous booming declarations. 3 seconds had elapsed since the Arbiter had said begin. "Impossible," snarled Supreme General Cavex, slamming his reinforced fist on the observation room table. The commander's neural implants were compromised. "This cannot be a valid trial." The emergency council session had been called immediately following the unprecedented result in the arena. Tommy Chen sat calmly on an oversized chair, his legs dangling well above the floor, while various Confederacy officials argued around him. Dr. Senna Lai, the human representative who had accompanied Tommy, spoke with measured confidence. No rules were violated. The commander employed his standard combat enhancements, as permitted under Section 12 of the Combat Trial Protocols. But the child Cavex began. Is also enhanced, Dr. Lee finished for him. As are 23% of Earth's children born after the cerebral integration program began 15 years ago. Grand Arbiter Zenta's translucent form pulsed with what might have been concern. You integrate technology with your young? Not technology, Dr. Lee corrected. Tommy is completely organic. Earth discovered how to unlock dormant neurological capabilities through genetic recoding. No mechanical or electronic components were required. Ambassador Exalani leaned forward, facial tentacles now completely still, a sign of intense focus in her species. What exactly did the child do to Commander Dravkorath? Tommy spoke for the first time since the match ended. I connected to his brain implants and suggested he should surrender. His voice was childlike, but articulated with perfect clarity. It seemed nicer than the alternatives. The room fell silent as the implications settled over the gathered representatives. You controlled his neural enhancements? Asked Cavex, his voice now hushed. Not exactly, Tommy explained. Those are just machines. I interface with them, but then I had to convince his brain directly. His species has interesting neural architecture. Dr. Lee picked up a data tablet and slid it across the table. We've prepared a comprehensive briefing on humanity's cerebral integration program. In summary, approximately 1 in 4 human children now possess what we call expanded neural interface capabilities. Some, like Tommy, have exceptional talent. Ambassador Exalani's voice was barely above a whisper. And the adults? The first generation is just reaching maturity, Dr. Lee replied, with a small smile. Tommy is actually one of our less developed examples. The program continues to improve with each cohort. The implications hung in the air like a physical presence. A species where a significant percentage of the population could potentially interface with and control any computerized system or even biological neural networks with a mere touch. Grand Arbiter Zenta was the first to recover. The trial results are valid. Humanity will be classified as a sovereign species with full Confederacy membership rights, effective immediately. General Cavex rose abruptly. This meeting is now classified at the highest security level. No recordings or transmissions of what we've learned are permitted outside this chamber until the full council determines appropriate dissemination protocols. As the officials filed out, many casting nervous glances at the small human boy, Ambassador Exalani remained behind. Once they were alone, except for Dr. Lee, she addressed Tommy directly. You could have killed him, couldn't you? Much more easily than forcing his surrender. Tommy nodded, his expression thoughtful beyond his years. But that wouldn't have been right. Mom says our abilities come with responsibility. Your mother is wise, Xalani replied, her tentacles rippling with a new emotion, something between respect and unease. I suspect the Confederacy will be reconsidering many of its procedures after today. Dr. Lee placed a gentle hand on Tommy's shoulder. We hope so, Ambassador. Humanity doesn't wish to conquer or dominate, but we will not allow our children to be threatened either. As they departed for the diplomatic transport that would return them to the human embassy, Xalani watched them go with a profound realization. The Confederacy had just narrowly avoided catastrophe. Had Dravkorath actually harmed the child, they might never have known what humanity was truly capable of until it was too late. 3 seconds. That's all it had taken to change the galaxy's balance of power forever. In the medical bay, Commander Drovkoroth stared blankly at the ceiling, his mandibles clicking in an irregular pattern as medical specialists worked to restore his neural functions. Over and over, he whispered the same words, "The children. Beware the children."